Hello, it's me, Jessica Bieber, and I don't really want to talk about K-pop because I've got nothing to talk about until something like big happens. So I decided I want to tell you guys why you should watch this anime, which is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And there are two versions of Fullmetal Alchemist, being Fullmetal Alchemist 2003 and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. The difference being, during the making of 2003 Fullmetal Alchemist, the manga was not yet completed, so the studio itself had to create their own adaptation and a few more characters and how the story would end and stuff, while Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is kind of more accurate to the manga, more accurate to what the original artist wanted, if I can put it that way. I personally prefer Brotherhood because I think there are better characters in Brotherhood, but I really like both of the series, but Brotherhood is just the one for me. So, the actual plot of the anime. So, I'm describing this in the most spoiler-free way as possible. You basically get jumped right into it on like the second episode, so I'm not really spoiling anything. But basically, you have two brothers, Edward and Alphonse, who you see right here. Covered by a wall of text, but that is them. So the thing is about Edward and Al, they lost their mum, so they tried to use alchemy to bring her back. And for those who don't know what alchemy is, it's kind of like this weird science that doesn't really exist in the real world. But how it works is basically equivalent exchange. So let's say you have a bunch of pieces of carbon lying around. If you do a fancy transmutation circle around it, clap your hands, it will turn into a diamond because they are made out of the same thing, and if you have enough material for it, it will turn into a diamond. It's like that. So using alchemy, Edward and Alphonse tried to bring back their dead mother, which cost them an arm and a limb for Edward and Alphonse's whole body, and that's why Alphonse is an empty piece of hollow armor. And Edward and Alphonse's main goal in the anime is to get Alphonse's body back and Edward to get his original arm and leg back. But it just turns into so much more than that, and I really don't want to spoil it because I would love for you guys to watch it yourselves. But I'll just briefly touch upon what this anime covers. It covers and mirrors a lot of real life stuff happening today. When I tell you it gets deep, it gets super freaking deep. It touches upon a lot of things that have happened in real life, for example, genocide, war, corruption in the military, and it touches upon it where it does not glamorize it. It just tells you how it is, and it really fucking gets to you. And there goes my AdSense because I swore. It's really, really brutal, and it just gives you that a slap in the face of reality and how things were when stuff like that was happening, or stuff like that is still happening. So there's a lot of dark themes in Fullmetal Alchemist. There's also the fact that it shows what it's like to live with disability. It touches upon philosophical elements, like is there really a god? It also talks about corruption in religion. There's so many dark themes, and it's just such a slap in the face. It's so brutal and harsh. You just sit there shook, but it's so good because of the way they've presented it. It really just, when a show leaves feelings on you, whether they're good or bad, you know that they're doing something right. And another reason why I think this show is so good, because I don't believe that there is any bad character, in the sense that there are no shit characters that shouldn't be in the show. I feel like every single character has a purpose, and whether you like them or not, they are still a really good character, in the sense that they make you just feel feelings, and you hate them or you love them. And if they can evoke such a feeling in you, then they are a good character. I dislike a few characters, but I still think they are good characters, in the sense that, oh my god, look at how they're making me feel. Does that make sense? But aside from the characters you will obviously dislike, the likable characters, they just make you feel so attached to them. You just want to root for them, and I've just found myself rooting for the characters way too hard in some parts. Oh my god, this isn't real, I need to calm down. I know a lot of people may have a thing against anime, or they don't think anime is their thing, but honestly, I think this anime in particular is just good for everyone to watch. For example, I actually watched this anime with my dad a couple of months ago, just because he found it interesting, and I didn't even have to force him to watch it, which is weird, because usually I'm telling him to watch stuff. But we sat down together and we really enjoyed this anime together, and it kind of turned into a bonding thing between me and my dad. I was genuinely so shook that my dad liked an anime. And I think the reason that he liked it so much is that it just talks about all these issues that I mentioned before, and it's just so interesting to see this anime's take on it. And the actual artist herself, Hiromu Awakawa, I probably pronounced her name so wrong, I'm so sorry, but she actually took time out of her schedule to like interview people who have lived with disability, people who have had to deal with the military in not pleasant ways, or people who have been in the military, and she spent a time interviewing all these people just so she could hone this piece of art into something amazing. And I think what makes this anime so good is that it doesn't glamorize these issues, it doesn't romanticize them, and I think that's something that we need a lot more of, because there can be many shows where they trivialize, romanticize certain really like sensitive issues, and then it kind of just like desensitizes the issue a little bit. But with Fullmetal Alchemist, it just gives you that harsh slap in the face, and I think that what makes it so interesting, and it really just gets you going, and it makes you think, and you notice more and more things each time you watch it, like loads of little comparisons to real life, or just loads of like tiny little things, and it's just so interesting. And also the thing is, I think when you start to like really get into anime, sometimes you can forget about the conditions that the characters are in, but then it just slaps you back in the face again with another character like showing the reality of the situations that they're in, and it just makes it like even more like hard on your heart, like, oh, there's so many characters that you just shouldn't like, but you just can't help but like because of their like character, and like, oh, I feel so guilty for liking some characters. For example, envy, lust, gluttony, these characters you'll know if you watch it, but like, girl, I just feel so guilty for liking some of these characters, man. And the last thing I'm gonna say is that y'all know that I'm just like obsessed with women, and the female cast in Fullmetal Alchemist, literally perfection, like so perfect. Just the female cast, the best female cast in anime, hands down, period, the house down. Like, I genuinely believe from my whole heart that all of these women in the cast are role models in their own different ways, because they all just have their different strengths, whether it be dealing with stuff mentally, being able to lead hundreds of men, being the best mum someone can, being a strong fighter, being able to deal with something even after you've lost an arm. Like, all of the women in the cast are just such role models to me, like, I love them. And that is all I'm gonna ramble about. I really wanted to recommend this anime because I just love it so much. I've loved it like for years and years and years. Like, it was one of the first animes I got into when I was a weeaboo back in 2012, so it's been like, what, like 8 years? Can't do maths on the spot, so clock me if I'm wrong. But yeah, this anime really holds like a special place in my heart, and like, I just think it's so good. I want to share it with other people. I want the fandom to grow bigger as well, because it's kind of dead. I'm sorry if it seemed like all the things I described were so vague. I just didn't want to spoil it, because I just think it would just be no fun if I spoiled it. It's such a good anime, so I want people to watch it for themselves, and I'll see you guys later, okay? I swear I'm gonna make a K-pop video next time. I just didn't have anything I wanted to talk about, and the stuff that there is to talk about, I just didn't want to talk about it, so... Mian Hey, asterisk bows, close asterisk. Sorry, I'll be a Koreaboo next week, okay? This week I'm weebing out. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye!